making me emotional, man. I stand up here and cry in a minute. Can I just say what an unbelievable feeling it is to know that I have the support. It's an immense feeling, and I know that it's such that everything they've tried, everything they're doing, everything the people sitting in there are tarnishing us, slandering us, trying to silence us. And I know by the reaction I get when I travel the country that the people are not listening to them, that the people are supporting us. The people of this country have been silenced for 20 to 30 years with the tag of racist. They have managed to silence people so they're too scared to speak up when they see things that are wrong. They're too scared to tell the truth and identify problems with an ideology and a religion in our country because they're worried about being called racist. They now realise that that tag is dead. No one cares anymore when we're being labelled as a racist. What is hate speech? There's a 16-year-old boy somewhere in here. I'm going to interview him next week. He went to Speaker's Corner and he debated Ali Dawah. And he stated facts about Islam. He was visited last week by counter-terrorism officials as part of the Prevent strategy. His mother was in pieces, crying, scared, worried. The justification the police gave for coming and visiting him, they asked him questions. Would you kill for your ideology? The reason the police gave for visiting him is because they didn't like his opinions on Islam. This is currently what our country's facing. When you hear statistics and they say that 30% of all Prevent strategy is now non-Muslims, that's not and again visits from counter-terrorism, for telling the truth, for identifying facts. I had a 14-year-old boy in the north of England who had a mental breakdown because of the visits from Prevent because he said that Islam was a fascist, violent ideology. I'm in a group message with this young lad, and there's loads of young lads who are representatives of different football clubs in the country, who are youth, who are 16 to 18 years old. So one boy tells the truth about Islam at Speaker's Corner, and then everyone else sees that counter-terrorism have visited him. That has a knock-on effect. People become scared. People are terrified to identify and speak openly and honestly. We've just seen that my Twitter account was removed for hate. What they removed my Twitter account for was for saying Islam promotes killing people. It does. 100 verses in the Quran incite them to kill. Hamas are a prescribed terrorist organisation. They have a Twitter account. Hezbollah are a prescribed terrorist organisation. They have a Twitter account. So this is not about rules or regulations or breaching any of their rules. This is about silencing and stopping. Silencing people like me. And it has to be shown. There's a video of Yvette Cooper, a Labour politician. She's sitting down with the CEOs of YouTube talking about why my videos are being promoted. This is government interference with private companies to remove certain people's views, which is fascism. What I want to do is I'm going to take Twitter to court. I'm going to take them to court for discrimination against my physiological beliefs, my deep-held beliefs. And I won't get my Twitter account back, but what we'll be able to prove, which needs proving, we need to prove what hate is. We need to prove that facts are now seen as hate. The government are pushing this agenda with private companies. This is a start. Everyone will be removed, all our views will be removed. On the other hand, you have Muslim organisations, you have terrorist groups, you have far left radical groups who aren't being censored. If certain political opinions are being censored. We live in a post-free speech era. There's no pretending it. We don't have free speech. Everyone talks about free speech. We have no right to free speech in the UK. Does anyone really feel free saying their opinions? Do they feel free with your bosses at work? Most people have to hide the fact that they even come to these demonstrations. That's not freedom. We're being lied to, we're being deceived. When you go back through British history, you go back through British leaders, you go back through our clergy, our military leaders, our politicians, Sir William Gladstone, Winston Churchill, they always told the truth about Islam. The truth that Islam is a warlike religion. You know the term, Islam is a religion of peace. You try and find that in the history books. You won't find that term. That was brought out after September 11th when George Bush lied to the world. We have let an ideology into our country to gain control of towns and cities, to infiltrate our government, to run as mayors in our capital city. All under the guise and the lie. They're taking our children to mosques. They're in the education system. They're lying. And when it turns, because it will turn in Europe, it will turn in England, and when it will turn so quick that everyone will start speaking openly and honestly. Everyone will identify the problem with it. If you look at Austria, since Austria elected a right-wing government, a government who identify Islam as a problem, the major celebrities and singers in that country are all now telling the truth about Islam. We know what people think. We know people are aware of the problem. Everyone tell the truth. Speak openly, speak honestly. Speak about Islam. I know you've all had a long day, and I want to thank every single one of you for travelling here. It's been a beautiful day. And do you know what? I thought I'd take massive satisfaction. We couldn't have done this 3 years ago. We couldn't have done this 4 years ago. We're now mainstream. A personal thank you from me to every single one of you. You've made me, you know, when I stood up on this stage earlier, and you're all singing my name, it's an amazing feeling.
Speaker's Corner. You might not understand all the fuss happening today around this speech. Honestly, I don't understand it either. My name is Martin Sellner. I am an Austrian patriot, and at the moment I am sitting in a detention cell in Colnbrook Bypass near Heathrow. My smartphone was taken and my girlfriend Brittany was separated from me. I currently don't know where she is. We will be deported on Sunday. 5 minutes ago, they unlocked our cells and my fellow inmates are gathering in the prison wing. They are mostly illegals and Eastern European criminals. What brought me into this situation? What was my crime? My crime was that I wanted to be here with you, to speak at Speaker's Corner. But let's start at the beginning. I was invited by UKIP to present my movement at an event last autumn. I represent Generation Identity, a patriotic European youth movement that is raising awareness for mass immigration and Islamisation. Far left people call us right-wing. People who want to shut down free speech call us fascist. And folks who hate their own culture call us racist. In reality, we're a group of young patriots fed up with the system, the mainstream press and the lying politicians. We use peaceful activism to make our voices heard. And contrary to our friends on the radical left, who are probably swarming you right now, we never wear masks. From Paris to Rome, from Vienna to London, we fight peacefully, but without compromise for our freedom, our homeland and our identity. This is what I wanted to speak about in autumn, but the conference was cancelled due to threats from the radical left. The venue would not take the risk, so they rescheduled it for March. This time keeping the venue secret. But again, the terror of the left prevailed and the venue dropped out. But this time I did not want them to win. It was about principles. My last refuge was Speaker's Corner. I remembered my mother telling me about that special place when I was a child. It seemed almost magical to me. A place where everyone, without admission, could just stand on a box and start to speak to those who wanted to listen. I've always loved this tradition of Speaker's Corner, which seemed very British to me. But I have come only to see that this tradition, the tradition of freedom of speech in the UK, is dead. I should be speaking in a neat, warm conference room right now. And you should be sitting comfortable chairs. Instead, I'm in my cell and you're on the streets in a standoff with the enemies of freedom of speech. This is very telling. Today, there is a war going on. It's a war for our freedom of speech. This war is being sought on the streets by you. Days of your childhood, I ask you, I command you, break free. Patriots of the UK, come out of the closet, make your dissent visible by acts of resistance that will inspire others. I know for certain that millions in the UK think like me. Those millions should be on the street now. We need a coming out of the silent majority or Britain is lost. We need a free, open and honest debate about immigration, about Islam and about demography. We can sort these problems out together. And I know that the force is still in you. With your Brexit vote, you stun the world. The will for the life of the British nation is not broken. Initially, I asked if freedom of speech is dead in the UK. You, every one of you who came today, is a living sign that the traditions of the UK are not dead. You are the lively tradition of your nation, saving its faith before history. People of the UK, remember who you are. Remember your glorious past. You are the sons and daughters of knights, of kings, of explorers, philosophers and artists. Who is the sovereign in this country? It's you, the people. You, the silent and invisible majority who said no during Brexit. You can say no again. No to Islamisation. No to mass immigration. And no to the Great Replacement. And yes to your identity, your security. Yes to your heritage and the future of your children. And all this is impossible without freedom of speech.
Need vodka.
I know that if these words will find